We're getting ready to top stitch the pocket on, and as always we need to check our stitching to make sure that our machine's threaded correctly before we get started. Needle up, presser foot up, check the back and front to make sure that you're threaded correctly. I'm also kind of looking inside to make sure I have enough bobbin in here, because I really don't want to run out of bobbin while I'm in the middle of top stitching. It's no fun because I have to start all over again. I have to take it out and start it over again. So when we do this top stitching, we're actually going to switch our machine over to stitch number 2 rather than using stitch number 1. We're moving our needle to the center of the presser foot, and we're going to use the outside edge of our presser foot as our guide. It's going to be a little bit, maybe about 3/8 of an inch from the edge. This is a little bit wider top stitching than we did before when we did pockets, but I think the look of it will be much better. So I'm going to slide my fabric underneath, and I want to line it up so that the outside edge of my foot, let's see if you can see that real close. The outside edge of my foot is right next to the edge of the fabric, and I may be about, I'm going to scoot back just a little bit, I'm about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge, and I'm going to drop my needle down, and I want to back stitch from here to the edge of the pocket and take at least 1 stitch off. I'm going to zoom out here just a little bit so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm back stitching. I'm not going forward, I'm going back. I'm going to back stitch to the edge of the pocket and at least 1 stitch off. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do I know when I get to the edge of the pocket? Well, I can feel it right here. I can see it and I can feel it right there. I can't see it where the needle is, but I can see it on the side. So I know I've got to go a couple. All right. So I've got at least 1 stitch off of the top. You need to do that because otherwise when you put your hand in your pocket, it will start coming undone. So you need at least 1 stitch off the top. And then I'm going to stitch forward. And I'm going to put my stitch speed down a little bit. I want to go slow with this because I want to make sure that I'm staying really, really accurate. Now, I don't want you to put your finger here. I am showing you this just because I want you to see that those things are supposed to match up. I have been sewing a long time and I know how close I can get my finger to the needle. If you notice, my finger's not over here, it's way over here. And when I did that, my foot was totally off of the foot pedal. So I have my finger right here just to show you that that's where it's going to line up. I am not going to keep it there the whole time, but I want you to see that that's what I'm looking at. I want that part right there. Okay? And I'm coming up on a pin and I'm going to stop and take it out. Remember, make sure everything is flat. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch along here. Stop, make sure everything is flat. You don't want any of the shorts to get caught up underneath. All right. Always take your foot off the pedal whenever you are removing pins. I've seen people on videos pull them out as they're going really fast. I think that's so dangerous, but that's just me. All right, so we're almost to this corner. I'm using my finger as my pin so this doesn't wiggle around, and I want to come down and I need to estimate about stopping right about there. Okay, so that's about where I'm going to stop because I want this to turn. Okay, I'm actually looking at that little piece of white right there, and that's where I'm going to check. When I get even with that little piece of white, I'm going to test and see if I'm in the right spot. Okay, I'm going to go 1 more stitch. All right, so I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to turn. And I'm not far enough yet. I'm guessing I need maybe about 2 more stitches. So I'm going to turn it back because I want a nice square corner. So 1, 2, and now I'm going to try again. And I've got it right on that corner. So I want a nice square corner. I don't want to have it slanted at all. I don't want it to have a skip stitch on the corner. All right, so I'm going to keep sewing, and I'm going to meet you up at the end. But you're going to go down, pivot, go across the bottom, pivot, go up the side, always making sure that the edge of your pocket is even with that presser foot. Okay? And I will see you right at the point where we are ending. I'm at the last side. I'm coming up to the top again, and this is all kind of bunchy up here, so I want to just kind of fluff it in there, but I also want to make sure that I don't have any of it stuck underneath where I'm sewing, because that would be very sad, because you'd have to take it out. All right, so I'm going to go up to the top, and I'm going a little faster because I'm trying to not make you watch me forever. But as I get to the top, I'm going to slow down because I don't want to shoot too far off the top. And remember, we need to have at least one stitch off the top of the pocket to reinforce that corner. If we don't do that, then it's likely to come undone when you put your hand or you stick things in there. One more and I'm off the top. Now I'm going to go back at least 3 or 4 because I want to really lock those stitches. Okay, needle up. Press your foot up, pull it off to the left, and again, make sure that you always cut those threads nice and close so we don't have stray strings anywhere. Okay, I cut the ones on top. Now I'm going to go for the ones underneath. I'm actually going to cut that one there first. Move this out of the way. And I do check these. I'm telling you, I check to see if you have these stray threads. It is part of your grade. Now, if I look at this from the back side, you can see that these lines look pretty straight, don't they? I have nice square corners. You can see that from the back. It's a little harder to see it on the front, simply because the pocket blends in so well. But one of the things that I am looking for is that you have this, it's about a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch from this edge, and you have the nice square corners. You don't have any little ears sticking out, and please do not sew across the top, otherwise how could you possibly get your hand in there? I'm going to take those last 2 pins out, and I can get my hand inside my pocket now. It's all completely attached. I always press, so I'm going to take this to the ironing board, and I am just going to take my iron and press over the top of it before I start working on the side seams. Mine's going to have inseam pockets, so I have to do that step before I can put my front and back together. If you're not doing inseam pockets, then your next step would be to go on to just pinning the front and the back together.